Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. A quick video. I wanted to talk about the 7mm bullets that I pulled out of the stockpile to test the touch point in that new hobbled together 7 Mauser, right? The one I just got back from Heavy Precision. It's a Remington 700 ADL. It's an older ADL that was a 270 Winchester. Obviously had them converted over to a 7 Mauser with a K&P barrel. Again, don't know the twist rate on that. Like I said in the other video, I think it's like 1 in 8. I think it's a 1 in 8. Could be wrong, but so that's where we stand with the barrel. I'll get more details from my buddy. I'll shoot him a text and figure out exactly what it is, and then that'll determine sort of how far we go up in this bullet weight range, specifically related to monolithics. So these are all the bullets. From left to right, we've got the Barnes 120 grain tip TSX. We've got the Spear 130 grain hot core, 130 grain boat tail Spitzer point. Both of those are Spear. Hornady 139 grain interlock. Sierra 140 grain Game King, the hollow point version. Federal 140 grain trophy copper. Meguiar Ballistics 143 grain copper rose hollow point bullet. Spear hot core 145 grain bullet. Nosler 150 grain ballistic tip. Federal terminal ascent 155 grain version. Federal 160 grain trophy bonded. Nosler 160 grain ballistic tip, Nosler 160 grain AccuBond, Spear 160 grain Grand Slam, Meguiar Ballistics Copper Rose 160 grain bullet, Hornady 160 grain CX, Hornady 162 grain interlock, Hornady 162 grain SST, Barnes 168 grain LRX, Hornady 175 grain interlock, and then Barnes 175 grain TSX. So those are all the bullets I tested. And well, there's also two more. I did test the Federal Fusion, the tipped Fusion bullet, the 175 grain. I previously tested that to check the touch point for that. And then also the Sierra 140 grain Pro Hunter flat base bullet. And these are the numbers. It's just a whole bunch of mess because of how I wrote all of this down on the page. I should have done a better job of orienting all this data and documenting it differently. But these are the bullets, and these are the touch points for those bullets. Okay, as you scroll down the page, right? They don't necessarily go in order of bullet weight because I've got the Federal, the 175 and the Sierra 140 up here at the top. And then after that, they do go in order of bullet weight and what I just rattled off to you. So you can kind of see the touch points over here. Right, just a bunch of random numbers. It's just a reference point. That's all it is. It's literally just a data point that gives you a reference on where that bullet touches the lands, touches the rifling and the barrel. And again, it only applies to me and my setup and this particular gauge that I used and the calipers that I'm using and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, whatever. All the caveats. And then these are the manual recommended overall lengths from each bullet manufacturer that has load data for the 7 Mauser and this bullet combination, right? So you can see like the Sierra 140, the Pro Hunter, not bad there in terms of jump. You're about 120 thousandths. The Barnes 120, not bad, about 85. The Spear on the 130s, we're jumping quite a bit, over 200 thousandths if we load it to that manual recommended overall length. The Hornady interlock, not bad, about 112 thousandths. Sierra Game King, not bad at all. What is that, about less than 90, about 85 thousandths. Spear, same thing, jumping quite a bit for the 140 boat tail, right? 145 grain. I think that's the hot core. I think that's a flat base. I'll have to go back and double check. Either way, that's the recommended overall length for those bullets. That 145 grain class, it's 2.8. Mauser ballistic tip, not bad, about 100, 130 on the jump. What else? And it's the same thing for the Mauser, the 160 ballistic tip and the 160 AccuBond. Same thing, it's 3.045 on the overall length. So you can see, you know, we're about 120, 130 thou jump there. Spear, the Grand Slam, the 160 Grand Slam, 100 thousandths. Hornady, when we get up here a little bit heavier, we're 93, 152 for the Barnes LRX. We're 105. Hornady 175 interlock 117, and then the Barnes 175. We're at 150. 153. So not bad on the jump numbers. That's definitely something that we can play around with and seat these bullets longer. So we have a ton of wheel room and in terms of our overall length that we can adjust and play with and really fine tune the load and see if we can find something that shoots really well. So pretty excited. Just wanted to show you guys that real quick video, short and sweet. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.